Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome. I hope you guys are doing well. In today's video, I wanted to talk a bit about death. And I know that's like, whoa, scary, touchy subject. But my perspectives on death have dramatically shifted within the past years. Yesterday happened to be the day that my grandma had passed. She passed away a year ago, yesterday on the 23rd. That just got me reflecting and thinking, obviously, of her and missing her physical presence, but also reflecting on death itself and the eternal nature of the soul. Like most of us throughout my life, I have lost people that I've been close to. I've lost family members, I've even lost friends at young ages. And throughout each of those events, it's really honestly gotten me to question death and eventually understand the eternal nature of the soul even more. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Death is a topic we don't talk about often. Not often enough, and it's kind of crazy because it's something that is going to inevitably happen to our bodies. Our bodies do not last forever. This physical part of us doesn't last forever. I think it's so hard for us to deal with death because of the lack of conversation around it. I will never forget when I was 16, I had lost a friend. One of my friends had passed away, and I went to her celebration of life. I had never been to a funeral or celebration of life. It wasn't a funeral, really. It was more of a celebration of life, but I'd never been to anything like that. Before that, I hadn't really lost someone that I was close to besides my great grandma. And I'll never forget that day because I remember going back home and not being able to sleep and just being like, whoa, like, when you're young, you don't think about death. When you're 16, you're not talking about this stuff. You're not really thinking about it. But seeing that and experiencing someone that I knew passing away and seeing how real that was and seeing how temporary this physical realm is, it got me to think a lot. I remember ever since then, I kind of started questioning life and death and what even is death, what even happens, what is all of this. Through even more experiences and through things that I've just learned in life, I've come to my own beliefs and my own understanding of our souls and how our souls are infinite and how these bodies are what's temporary, but I believe we continue on and this isn't the end. Through my grandma's passing, I have really, really seen the eternal nature of the soul and the eternality, I don't know if that's a word, of our spirits. And I was reflecting on this yesterday. I went to a park and I was journaling and reflecting on this because not only do I believe at least our souls continue on, after we leave this physical body, our souls are infinite. But our essence is also infinite, and our spirit's essence stays here in a way. And not only do we leave behind our physical bodies when we leave, but we leave behind things. We leave behind our children if we had any. We leave behind family members that are still here, memories in people's heads, and maybe even lessons. You never know how something you said could have helped somebody, or maybe you showed someone how to do something and now they do it the exact way you showed them, and your essence kind of is continuing on through that, or just through different memories. No one can really ever die or be gone because they leave behind so much. And I feel that I am just a continuation of my grandma. There are so many traits within her that I see within myself, and she lives on through me, through these ways that I interact with the world and through the ways that she's inspired me also. And obviously too, when people pass, we think about them more. We think about the lessons they left behind and apply them more a lot of the time. And so their spirit still lives on through all of these things, through the people that they've left behind, through maybe even physical objects they left behind, through the memories that they've planted in our heads and all of that. I see and feel my grandma's essence through my own mother as well, even through physical traits that get passed down, through personality traits that get passed down. I see her in my little cousins. I remember I was listening to a podcast like a few years ago. Thich Nhat Hanh was on it, who is one of my favorite authors. He was a Vietnamese Buddhist monk, and I highly recommend checking out his books. They're beautiful and super easily digestible and easy to read. But he said something like, just as the rain is a continuation of a cloud, and the rain is the cloud in a way, we are our ancestors. And we are a continuation of our ancestors, and our ancestors are still here through us and through the lessons they've passed down, through the memories, through the physical traits and features as well. But life is really honestly just a continuation, and that is how nothing really ever dies. And I've always understood and believed that we continue on when we pass, when we just transition to the next realm, right? Death is kind of just like this continuation. And another thing that Thich Nhat Hanh says is no birth, no death. So birth and death are kind of one and the same because they're just transitions into different realms. But I've always believed in our soul living on. But recently I've had this realization of how someone's essence can still be here on earth, even when they're physically gone, through memories and through things that they've left behind and through ways of being that they've passed down to other people. And it's all so trippy to me. Honestly, I'm like, whoa, it's literally, everything's a spiral, everything is a continuation. As humans, it's hard because we relate with people physically. We relate with people through their physical body. So dealing with death of loved ones, people close to us, and even contemplating our own is hard. And that's definitely not anything to be bypassed at all. Like, that doesn't mean just because we know the souls are eternal doesn't mean we can't grieve, because at the end of the day, we are in these bodies and we do relate in these ways, and we're going to miss relating with someone in a physical way. But what brings me peace is understanding this, and understanding that everything is a continuation. And even, I mentioned Thich Nhat Hanh earlier. He is living on through the words that I'm saying right now. He has taught me a lot of these things that I really resonate with. He lives on through his books that are still here on this physical earth. His words are still here, even though he has physically passed away. His words, his wisdom is still here on earth, on this plane. Same with Ram Dass. I love Ram Dass, and I'm reading Be Here Now right now, actually, and his words are still living on, and they're living on through the actions that I'm taking as well to integrate what I've been learning from this book. You could think of this with many spiritual teachers. Jesus, so many people praise Jesus and his essence and his spirit, his presence, and his name is still living on after all of these years. So we can't really say that he is really gone. You know what I mean? And same with all the prophets and everything. So I love coming back to this truth because in moments where grief feels hard and hits me like a truck, I can remember that I can still honor these people that I love, my friends that have passed. I can still honor them through embodying the traits that I admired about them and their lessons that they taught me. And I can still keep them alive, keep them here. And of course, their souls are eternal and their souls are living on, but I can also still keep them in my heart here on earth and share them with others as well. And they live on through me and through everyone that they have touched and inspired. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. It's so beautiful. And obviously, I also know that we are also more than this physical body that we have occupied in this lifetime, right? My grandma is much more than the physical body that she was while she was here. Her soul is much more than that. But while she was here, she did make an impact as the woman that she was, and this personality that she took on. She did still have an effect, and that effect lives on. And that effect is infinite through generations and generations. Even if people may not remember her name, her essence will still live on. Maybe some personality traits will still live on. And there's probably ones from her ancestors that are living on or that have lived on through her. And so everything is connected. And this also returns us back to the truth that everything is a reflection at the end of the day too. We are all each other, which is another trippy topic that I can get into in another video if anyone wants me to expand on that. But through my grieving process, I have been reminded of this and also reminded of the interconnectedness of everything. And it's interesting how through something that has been hard and sad, and like through everyone that I have grieved, it's difficult, but through that, it's caused me to question and to learn and to be present with these realizations. It's also beautiful how we can connect with people that have passed on in any moment. We can speak with them. We can still continue our relationship with their spirit. We can honor them, we can create altars, we can keep them in our prayers and still create this connection. Just because someone leaves their physical body doesn't mean our connection to them is completely severed. Like, we can keep them in our hearts and we can know that they're with us and watching over us. And sometimes they give signs, which is one of my favorite things. I love noticing signs and noticing the synchronicities and the messages. And yeah, I really believe that we can communicate with them and they communicate with us in so many ways. And it's so beautiful. And when I'm feeling down about those that I miss that have transitioned, I try my best to always remember that, and to remember that I can communicate with them at any moment. Even in the moment that I'm feeling down, I can say, like, I miss you, you know? I miss you, and I wish you were here physically, but I know you're watching over me, and even express my grief. It's so comforting to feel that and to honor the spirits of those that I love that are no longer here. And if any of you are dealing with grief or going through any of this, first of all, my heart is with you. I feel you, and I know it's hard. It is hard. Like, and being this human and dealing with grief is hard. And you take all the time you need to grieve and to feel and to just get it out, because that is completely necessary and that is a part of the process. But just know that your loved ones are watching over you and that their essence continues on through you and through anyone else they have touched. Even if you may not believe that the soul is eternal, you can still keep them alive with you through embodying traits about them that you really admired, or applying lessons that they may have taught you. I know that death is a touchy subject and something we avoid. It's a conversation that we definitely avoid, and that's why it is so hard for us, you know? There is not much conversation around it, and I think that that is kind of an issue, and I understand why there isn't, because many people have many different beliefs, right? And so some things could be controversial to some people and whatever, so I get it. But I think it's good for us to open more conversations around this and to also just be there for each other through it. It is a very uncomfortable topic and an uncomfortable conversation, and that is why we avoid it. Even thinking about people that I love passing away is something that I'm like, ooh, let me get that out of my head. Like, no. And obviously you don't want to think about that all the time. But this is one of the reasons why I feel like we don't have as much open conversation about it in the moments that are necessary to have an open conversation about it. I want to say that because not every moment is necessary or appropriate to be talking about this, but in the ones that are, you know, it's good to keep that conversation. But it's crazy because if you were to ask me years ago, like when I was a teenager, what my biggest fear was, I would have told you death. I remember I used to fear death so much. Like, that was my biggest fear. And that was because I was fully identified with being Samaya in this body. And I did not really think of any type of continuation after that. But now that I have learned these things and found what I truly resonate with, I don't fear death at all. Obviously, it's uncomfortable to think about, and it's not something I think about all the time, but I don't fear it. And it feels good to understand that I am more than this body, and that my essence continues on, and that my spirit will continue on, and that I will leave behind memories and wonderful things and generations when I have children, you know? But beyond that, I am more than all this either way. But this life is truly a gift. And through the passing of loved ones close to me, I have really seen that. And I'm so grateful to have known them and to have spent that time that I did with them, and to see how they lived their lives and how they fulfilled so much and made the most out of this gift that is life. It makes me and inspires me to make the most out of this experience while I'm here. You know, even though knowing that I'm beyond the body, I'm here, you know, I still want to make the most out of my experience and appreciate the gift that is this life. Yeah, life is a blessing. Before I close this video off, I want to thank our ancestors, the ancestors of all of you watching this, and my own ancestors. Thank you for watching over us and protecting us. And may your souls be at ease. May our souls be at ease and at peace, and know that we are much more than all of this. And thank you to our ancestors for being a part of us, for being the reason why we exist and why we are here to experience this beautiful experience called life. So Thank you, thank you. And with that, this is the end of my flow, my stream of consciousness around death. This was just something I thought about yesterday while I was journaling, and I'm glad that I'm sharing it today and expanding on it. Again, if any of you are dealing with grief, I'm sending you so much love and so much support and grace and compassion. And thank you so much for watching this video, for being here, for being just as you are. I appreciate your presence so, so much. And I hope that you're having a beautiful, beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you are in the world. And with that, I am signing off, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye bye. Love you.